Oops, sorry.
It looked like a lot of plays being made on both sides of the ball today, honestly.
Yeah, you see guys making plays. And that's what's good to see. When you get out on this field, we talk about transition and all the potential and all the measurables in the guys that can make plays and actually on the football field. And that's starting to happen since we have made some plays.
A little bit of pass rush out there, but a little bit of pass rush getting defeated.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, like I say, when you spring ball, you take turns. We score everything. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but at the end of the day, it's been pretty close about every day. So I'm not sure anybody's came out here and totally dominated the day, which is the way it should be. And they've competed, and at the end of the day, it's normally pretty close.
So one of the better days for Xavier.
Yeah. I mean, he's starting to, he's starting to feel a little comfortable. And the one thing he's starting to do is take advantage of the skill set, which he's got the ability to beat you with his feet at times. And if it's not there, just go take off and get what you can get. And he's starting to understand that and do that. And I thought both quarterbacks took a little bit of a step today, and they're talking about the young kids and got better, which they need to.
New NCAA legislation. I know that that's something that you all keep a watchful eye on. What did you like and what didn't you like about it?
Well, I haven't had it. I'm not sure the early visit thing. I mean, I don't know if you know enough about these kids to visit in April, May of their junior year. I mean, a lot can happen from that point on. So I'm not sure how much we'll do as far as taking, visiting kids early. The early signing period I've never been for. I think a school like Marshall and the Western Kentucky and some of the schools that are rural areas that can't get kids on campus. The early signing periods is not good, but it is what it is. We'll just get going and go and we'll adjust to it and adapt to it and just go recruiting around it.
10th coach.
Mm-hmm.
2018.
It's going to start in January. So I thought I knew they were going to pass it. I just didn't know if it was going to be now or if it was going to be in January. I was a little bit surprised it was in January because normally if the Power 5 schools want, they get what they want, and I thought they'd all go for it. But obviously, the table for January, which is fine. It's okay.
How much does that change your all schedule? I know that you all go on schedules and try and get kids in, things like that. Does it completely change the game up for you all at all?
As far as recruiting, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, the recruiting part of it doesn't change. I mean, you get as many people on campus as you can in the summertime. It's more difficult for us because of, I think the one thing for us, you start bringing a kid in here in April for a visit of his junior year. I mean, that's an eternity from there until December. So, I'm not sure it's in our best interest. Probably the most success we've had as far as visits is bringing them in during games. We've had a lot of success bringing kids in during the season. We'll continue to do that. So, it won't change our recruiting a whole lot. We evaluate early. We get to other camps and try to evaluate. So ours will stay primarily the same.
You obviously want to get back to a bowl, but that signing day is in the middle of bowl prep. I mean, how are you guys going to juggle that one?
Yeah, it's that, but it's always been that's been the junior college signing day. So you'll get a little bit at that point. But that is. I mean, at the problem. And to answer your question, it's a little bit of an issue because if you're in a bowl game, you got about 2 weeks you're allowed to get out right there. It's right before signing date, and probably chances are one of those weeks you're not going to get there. But that's the way it is for anybody that goes to bowls. We've dealt with that in the past, and if that happens in the future, we'll deal with it.
Biggest improvement you saw from the end of week 2 to the end of week 3?
I'll tell you, I think it's the young offensive linemen are starting to grow up a little bit. I see that offensive line. Tariq Adams is really starting to play well. I think that Willett we like, Homer we like a lot. Those young kids. Salguero, he's gone from 300 to 280, and he's starting to move around pretty good. So you're starting to see not only those guys. Stanley's probably playing his best football since he's been here right now. And you see a lot of those offensive linemen starting to grow up and get better, and it's good to see. A lot of those young guys will have to be counted on as far as backups.
Well, we've seen Tariq at number 1 and Locklear back on number 2. I mean, talk about Tariq's progress.
Yeah, he's very athletic. He's long, and he's a great kid. He's done a tremendous job.
I talked to Vinny the other day, and he was talking about, football becomes a lifestyle. It becomes your life, and you really have to buy into it to that perspective. One, talk about Vinny coming back this week and getting to talk to these kids, and two, your own perspective. Football's been a part of your life for 45, 50 years now.
I mean, if you don't love it, it's I've always said if you're not tough and don't love it, it's a hard game to be around. But what a story Vinny was, and it's just tremendous. Not only Vinny, but we've had so many athletes that have left this place and had the opportunity to go on and be very successful, came back and given back, and I don't know if you guys had the opportunity. That locker room special. I mean, it's special. I told the kids I'm not letting them in it for another week. I want them to appreciate when they get in there what they got. So I'm leaving that old bad visitors locker room for another week. So when they get in there, they'll appreciate what Vinny's done for them, and it is a special. We just can't say enough about not only what Vinny's done, but how he handles himself. He's just a class guy that gives back, and just appreciates everything that Marshall's done for him.
When's that thing going to be ready for players to use?
It's ready right now.
It's ready.
It's ready now, but we're not going to let him in here till next Saturday.
At what point did you realize that football was what you wanted to do with your life?
I think, I just, early on, I always loved it. Always loved the competition. I always loved to compete. And, I think early on I knew I wanted to coach. And, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I can remember back my first interview, I got turned down at Hampshire County High School for a head coaching job. So that made me feel really good. But I just got married with my wife, and we got to, but it make a long story short, early on, and I was fortunate at a young age to get a great job. And been fortunate all the way through.
How's everything changed since then? I mean, from then to where it is now with social media and recruiting services.
I think
and
social media is probably the biggest part of it. I mean, that's probably the biggest part. I'm not sure the kids themselves have changed. I think I've heard other people say it, but coaches have changed, and teachers and principals and parents. I mean, I think the kids are the same. They want discipline. They want. They want people they can trust. I think the biggest issue right now in the country today is there's not a lot of trust out there, because some of these kids haven't trusted anybody their whole life because of the way they've been brought up. But trust is everything. It's just so important that you surround yourself with people you can trust. There's not a greater feeling in the world when you have a great team that trust each other and their coaches. And I've always said the greatest thing in the world done properly is coach-player relationship, and I can assure it's done properly here.
Yeah, I mean, those phones, I mean, back in the day, me and you were using rotary phones. We never thought that would be we'd be holding these in the hand, reading the paper and stuff.
I'm not near as old as you, Smock. I didn't have rotaries, but I did have.
Yeah, the hell you didn't.
I did have rotaries, but I do remember recruiting out there with no cell phones, and you had to stop at a payphone and put it down then to make a call to figure out when you got lost. You didn't have GPSs either, so things sure have changed. And but I think, I mentioned earlier, these kids with social media and the phones and everything the way they are today, they don't listen like they used to. I never felt you had to teach kids how to listen. They're so involved with these phones all the time. It's amazing. Normally with our best Fridays in football, for example, you do that for the kids to get around each other and have fun with each other. And we're going to take the phones away from them during this year, so they're not paying attention to those phones, they're paying attention to each other. So I think you have to adjust yourself as a coach because things are different.
Back to rule changes. Apparently, the two-a-days are going to go completely.
They were about gone anyway. They were about gone. I think it was down to 2 or 3 a year ago, but they've allowed us to come in a week early. So we do report a week earlier, which I think is good. If you do, it used to be in the old two-a-days. These kids are here all summer. So if we got to bring them here to get them in shape, I got the wrong strength coach. You bring them, but to have the opportunity to have them here a week early, and there's probably going to be some things that we're going to change practice-wise and the way we do things, because we do have that extra week and we do only have Wednesdays.
All right, thanks.
Happy Easter.
Thanks, Doc. No, that's all right.